This is an agent who is making $13,000 in profit in a little bit over a month, only working appointments.
How do I become more efficient and proficient? One of those is obviously scaling and building an agency where I would rather get paid 1% of what 100 people are doing rather than 100% of my sole effort. What if I could create our own leads? That'll add more credibility, that'll get more people to show higher interest, and then lower the cost, because at the end of the day, any entrepreneur's goal is to be profitable as quickly as possible. And so the way we describe it, you're pretty much the nurse at the doctor's office. The lead came in and they're expecting us to call, and all you're doing is simply saying,
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? In this video, I have a special guest with us here. This is an agent who is making $13,000 in profit in a little bit over a month, only working appointments. So he's not making any outbound dials. All he's doing is working appointments that are either coming in from his funnel or that are being set by his dialer. So Jorge, welcome to the channel. How's it going and what's going on, my man?
hey Tim, it's good to be here. Everything's going great.
Good to hear, dude. Well, I think we've been working together for almost 2 months, or around between like a little over a month and almost 2 months. I think it's around that range.
Yeah, right around there, I would say.
Awesome. Well, I wanted to bring you on here, dude, because you're freaking killing it. I know you're working the niche method, targeting parents, selling a lot of term and IUL, and I think a lot of agents on our channel could kind of benefit from hearing what you're doing, your strategy. I know you're also working on building an agency too, so I think it'd kind of be cool if you can share a little bit about that. But I guess if you could kind of just start off, give us a brief background of like how you got into the industry and what your story has been thus far.
Yeah, 100%. So, been in the industry a little bit over 2 years now within
Uh-huh.
life insurance. I've done PNC in the past, worked with a captive agency, learned a lot there, got good mentors that taught me kind of that. And insurance, finances in general, just helping people has always been a great passion of mine. And apart from that, you kind of control your own paycheck, right? And
Yep.
whatever work and effort you put in is kind of what you get out of it, especially within this industry. So
Yeah.
it's always been something that you can control, kind of that lifestyle that you have, which is time, money, and impact that you have upon people.
100%.
And yeah, that's kind of what interests me in that. Had a great mentor that's been able to teach me a lot of stuff within different places, and has been a quite a learning journey ever since then.
So you said you kind of started off PNC more on the captive side, and then you transitioned over into life. Like, how long have you been doing life insurance specifically?
Life insurance directly just 2 years
2 years in
or
life.
right around there.
Okay, cool. So what kind of walk me through like what's the journey been in life? Were you always, producing at a high level? Did you always have an agency? Like what did that look like from where you started off versus what you're doing now?
No, not at all. So kind of getting started off was going through. I was actually closing down some businesses I had open, just
Okay.
because, especially market, and I had a sneaker business and a
No
custom
kidding.
suit business that we were doing. But just seeing kind of what was forthcoming, and especially within economy, most people I don't think would want to pay $800 $1,000 on a custom suit business at a large scale, right? There's always going to be a market for that. And then same thing was I had a storefront in the Atlanta area where we did Jordans, Yeezys, a few different things, but really running a brick and mortar rather than this type of opportunity that we have within life insurance and being able to be virtual, and you become profitable after 1 to 2 sales. And I
Yeah.
was like, I would rather do that. And so starting off, as anybody, you have to get contracted. You have to go through your background, pass the exam, learn the different type of products. For myself, we have a brokerage that we have access to a little bit over 35 carriers. So you're learning at a massive rate, right? Where do
Yeah.
I go for this? Where do I go for that? Who accepts this? Who does that? So it's just that learning curve where I was making quite a bit of dials, especially at the beginning, 300, 400, just trying to learn and try to overcome, that fear of any new agent, just making outbound dials from there as setting appointments. Whenever you set those appointments, it's like, yes, we finally set an appointment. But then you had people show and no show, and
Yep.
you have that emotional roller coaster that you're going through. And from there, it's
100%.
like, yes, finally got someone to say yes. You sold them, and sometimes they didn't get approved, or they did, right? So
Yeah, there's like
all
so many
that
steps that you can lose people, dude. It's crazy.
exactly. But it's been a tremendous blessing.
So did you start off all over the phone or did you like start face to face or what did that kind of look like for you?
No, so I started off over the phone.
Okay.
I think I've only ever met one client in person, and because they lived around the area I live, and they were an older couple that needed some help e-signing and all that, and I said, you know what, we live like 10 minutes apart. Why don't we grab some coffee and I'll show you how to do it.
Got it. Got it. So you've been all over the phone the whole time. Yeah, it sounds like you kind of had a little bit of like the normal life insurance agent struggles, like just starting off making tons and tons of dials. Like, walk me through like what has the progression been for you in terms of like income? Like when you first got in, how much AP were you writing? Like what did that kind of look like? Because obviously now, and you have an agency, you're mostly working off of appointment, which is a position that 90% of agents would want to be in. Like, how did you kind of get to that point, and what did that look like for you?
Yeah, absolutely. First couple months, I was probably writing anywhere from 5 to 7,000 APV, and
Mhm.
then kind of the idea behind was how do I become more efficient and proficient. One of those is obviously scaling and building an agency
Yep.
where I would rather get paid 1% of what 100 people are doing rather than 100% of my sole effort. And then whenever I started growing an agency, well, I saw a lot of them either many people don't know what it is to run their own business. So the mindset of an entrepreneur, they don't really have it until it's developed, right? And I think it's the same for all of us until you're surrounded, your association, who you're hanging out with, what you're listening to on a daily basis, what you're reading, what you're tuning into. So really looking at new agents and kind of their struggles is I was like, how can I first be a great producer? So then after that, and applying different systems and working more in an assembly line type of mindset, I was able to produce anywhere from 30 to 40, upwards of close to $50,000 of APB, my own
Wow.
pen. And then how do I duplicate that, right? Because
Yeah.
that was hours of work that you have to do, both front end and back end. And so, really, that was one of the reasons I was looking for a better system. And I had some of the parts already figured out there, but I think being able to connect with you all really made that difference.
Yeah, so, like, since, obviously we're doing all the lead generation and a lot of the automations for you, how do you feel like that's helped in terms of, like, I know you said you kinda had a lot of it dialed in, but there were, like, some pieces missing. What do you feel like was missing, and what do you feel like, working with us has kinda, like, helped you level up in terms of?
Absolutely. So whenever you start talking about lead generation, I think with our IMO, they provided at a cost leads, and it was more of the traditional route of the mail-in type of leads, and then they were starting to tap into digital leads. But then we started thinking, okay, what if I could create our own leads, right? And that'll add more credibility. That'll get more people to show higher interest, and then lower the cost. Because at the end of the day, I think any entrepreneur's goal is to be profitable as quickly as possible
100%.
and doing it rightfully so, right? In the right path, and then being duplicatable is what you want. So whenever we started looking at that, I tried different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and even Google Ads, which all of them have their pros and cons. But that's a lot of work trying to find the right creatives, trying to who do you target, how do you go about it? What if your ads get shut down because you used the wrong word? And it's a whole other department, if I could call it like that. And then I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm losing
100%.
focus on what I want to do, which is writing business and training agents. And I'm spending the majority of my time trying to figure out these ads, creatives, and when to do this, how to do this. And I think really it was an answered prayer being able to work with you all to be able to take off that burden or load, which is a good thing because I enjoy learning. But be able to say, okay, there's a proven system that they have good ads, good ad scripts. I don't have to become my own ghostwriter. I don't have to become, you know film, record, do all this stuff, but rather I can focus on what's actually going to make dollars at the end of the day, which is selling policies.
100%. So it seems like for you, it was almost like you were trying to be the marketer, be the producer, and be the agency owner, and you were just like split in so many different directions. And so it was like the biggest unlock for you was just handing off the marketing to our team, which is we have some great people on our team that are able to do a lot of all the marketing for tons of agency owners. So you're able to take that piece off your plate and just focus more so on what you already wanted to do and were already good at. Is that kind of right?
Yes, exactly.
Awesome, dude. Well, I think what would be really cool for people is if we can kind of walk through some of these numbers that you are have been experiencing over the last month or so. You just
Absolutely.
we kind of ran through it before we jumped on here, but if you could kind of go through this with the audience here, how much have you spent on leads in the last, like, I think it's been since October 23rd. Today's December 5th that we're filming it. How much have you spent on leads?
Yeah, 100%. At the moment, total lead spend has been roughly a little bit over $3,200.
So about 3K on leads in about a month and a half. And how
Mhm.
many leads have you been able to get from that?
So at the time, it's been 235,
Okay. So that's like what, 14, 15 bucks a lead basically?
right around there.
Okay. And you're only working the appointments. So you mentioned you have a dialer, and then obviously a percentage of them are coming, just they're booking directly from the ad. How many appointments have you had total?
Total appointments from that has been 82.
82. Okay. And what's like the show rate look like?
Show ratio right now, we're looking about a little bit over 40%. So we've had roughly about 37 appointments shown.
Okay. So over 40%. I mean, that doesn't sound like a huge number, but if you know what that is, and I mean, granted, that is higher than industry standards. If you know what that is, you can predictably kind of book your calendar out and say, hey, if I book 8 appointments, I'm going to talk to roughly 4 people. So it does kind of give you that predictability. How much have you written in terms of like business that you've, just submitted?
Total submitted, it's been a little bit more, right around 18,000.
Okay. So about 18,000 from 3K in spend. So a little bit over a 5x. And how much of that, because I know with you doing the term in IUL, some of that kind of, goes to underwriting. There's some back and forth there. How much is like actually issue paid?
Yeah, issued and paid today has been 14,741 with 96 cents.
That's killer, dude. You're freaking crushing it. So what because I know there's a lot of people out there that, they have leads coming in, but they can't really figure out how to hire an appointment setter and how to have a dialer, like, because again, your day is you're running your agency and then you're working appointments and selling deals. How have you gotten to the point where you're only working appointments?
Absolutely. So I think having a system really is the answer to that, and more of that is, I think, now thanks to technology. It hasn't been long since I started, but there wasn't necessarily a CRM. That was a great improvement. Whenever there was a CRM, instead of having to print out your leads and going through them one by one, and then writing stuff down, which it still works.
Yeah,
You
you're
work the
giving me
leads still work.
flashbacks, dude.
Right. But then using technology to be able to offset some of your tasks and all that is one massive leap in improvement. Second thing is being able to work with you all and having those leads fill out a survey, know who you are, is something great. The other thing we've been doing is whenever a lead drops, we'll call them within first 5 minutes, make sure that we introduce ourselves. We drop a video so they put a face, know that we're not a robot or some other person from somewhere outside of the US. That way they know exactly who they're talking to. And we
Yeah.
send them a screenshot of our license to make sure they know they're talking to an actual professional, all that good stuff. So to answer your question, it's been more of a system. And then on our newer agents, because a lot of new agents have fear, and I like to call fear false evidence appearing real, because it's, they get in their own mind, their own that I don't know how to make dials. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I don't know all the product knowledge? Which no one ever does, right? So
Yeah.
with a lot of our new agents, what we've been able to do is have them be our appointment setters.
Got it.
And so that way they're getting that experience. And so the way we describe it, you're pretty much the nurse at the doctor's office, right? The
Hmm.
lead came in and they're expecting us to call because they said, I want to receive a call. So this is not cold calling. And all you're doing is simply saying, hey, Tim, this is Jorge Perez with Hathaway Financial Services, or whatever the name of your company is. And hey, I saw here that you submitted some information on whatever the lead source came. Do you mind if I review some of that with you? And perfect. So you ask whatever questions you have, and then perfect. I'll have one of our senior agents be able to get in touch with you. And then once that happens, they book that appointment. The agent, in this case me, would call, just confirm that appointment. That way they make sure they know exactly what they're talking to and they're ready to go from there.
Dude, that's freaking genius. So basically, you have the newer agents are calling the leads, setting appointments for you and other senior agents is kind of a way for them to, like, overcome that fear, get into the motion of calling leads and kind of get a grasp on the business.
Exactly.
Dude, that's killer. That's freaking killer. So I know before you were kind of using like overseas appointment setters. Have you found that this works a little bit better?
It has just on a couple different things because overseas it's great because it's cheaper labor
Yeah.
and that's phenomenal. But at the same time, there are a few language barriers and then time differences and a few other things that I think just having, especially if you're trying to build an agency, it's great because you have those same agents that are building appointments. They're going to become agents because they see the success already, and that's going
Yeah.
to increase their belief, which will lower the fear because it was cured by action. And so they're already believing in a high capacity because they set up appointments. You're closing the business. You share some of that commission or however you structure your agency, and then
Yeah.
from there, your agency is growing as well.
Yeah, dude. I mean, my mind's just racing with that idea. That's freaking genius. Like splitting them out on the deal, so you're only paying them when you sell, and you kind of build that incentive for them to set quality appointments. That's super killer. Well, cool, man. So for anyone that's watching this, that's maybe thinking about having us help them generate leads or thinking about jumping into the program, what would you say to that person?
100%, it's worth it. I think in anything, anything takes risk, and anything takes investment. Anything great doing, and being able to work with you all and the system you already have set up that's duplicatable, it's phenomenal because just from a business background and knowing a few other my friends that have started businesses, no one's going to tell you their secrets. If you start, let's say, a retail store and say, hey, what's your secret to starting that, or you go somewhere else, they're not going to tell you. They're like, you're my competition. But being able to have a plug and play system is phenomenal because I'll say this, whenever I started my sneaker story, it was roughly about a six-figure investment before
Oh
we even
wow.
opened. And I would have done a backflip, even though I can't. I would have done a front flip, all the above, if after one pair of sneakers, I would have become profitable.
Oh, dude, 100%.
And so I think that's the business owner dream, right? And within this industry, you're able to become profitable at such a quick rate because all you have is your license and then your lead spend, which in this case, working with you all brings that down to such a lower cost. And then you're able to scale a business and have the lifestyle that you would want to have. And I think this is much better system because at the end of the day, you go from self-employed to an actual business owner because you're
Yeah.
creating something.
Dude, 100%, 100%. We have such an amazing business because, like, dude, I mean, all you have to have is a laptop, headphones, a headset if you're using that, and an internet connection, and you can, with some hard work, some grit, and some stick to itness, you can easily, I mean, maybe not easily, but simply get to a multi six figure income. And I mean, I tell people if you really commit to the business and you pick the right market, there's no reason that you couldn't be making multi six figures by your second year. You could at least like there's no question you can make 100K in your first year.
Right.
So
I'm 100% in agreement with that. So I love this business and I love being able to work with you all. And it's been a great experience. I'm looking forward to what else is to come.
absolutely, I'm excited as well. So for anyone that's watching this that wants to learn more about your agency or working with you, how can they reach out to you or contact you?
Yeah, absolutely. So best form of contact would probably be just by email. And then just from there, shooting over email. We do interviews from people that want to be able to join us and be able to see if this would be a good fit for them. So that email would just be JPI Financial Groups, plural, at gmail.com.
Awesome. JPI Financial Groups at gmail.com.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you jumping on here, Jorge. And for everyone watching at home, thank you so much for watching. If you want to learn more about working with us, link down below in the description. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.